Hello, welcome to this introduction to Biology 145 Human Biology. This is a Highland Community College 3-credit biology course that's delivered mostly online. They'll have to do a couple things in person, but mostly online. This course is for students who are looking for credits to fulfill the degree requirements towards the Associate of Science or the Associate of Arts. This is a natural science, a life science, a 3-credit course, non-lab course, and as such, it can help you reach an Associate of Science or an Associate of Arts degree. What this course isn't is a course for majors in biology or as a prerequisite for any health science. This course does not satisfy those requirements, but it helps you meet general education requirements for the degree. We'll be talking about a wide variety of topics that are scientific and will have a natural science approach and affect humans. In effect, we're going to use humans as the study animal to explore some scientific topics. Our course will be divided into 5 sections. The first section is human biology, science, and society. The second takes us from the levels of chemicals to cells and to whole organs of the human body, and so it discusses the organization of the human body. The third section, control and transport systems, deals with the organ systems that control activities in the human body and transport materials throughout the human body. Then in section 4, we'll deal with aspects of the human reproductive system. We'll talk about inheritance, how genes control the traits in organisms, and we'll talk about topics related to that. And then in the last section, we'll talk about evolution and environment, how evolution affects humans and how humans interact with their environment, where it affects them and how they affect the environment. That picture there is a picture of the flooding of New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. That might be something we talk about in section 5 there, that environmental section. Each section of our course will deal with several chapters in the textbook Human Biology by Michael D. Johnson. And for each one of these sections, we're going to cover 1 to 3 chapters in the textbook. These will generally cover one section or one chapter in the textbook each week. Some weeks we'll have 2 chapters. Sometimes we'll split a chapter up and it'll take 2 weeks. But generally it's about a chapter a week. And for each week, you will get some study materials to help you kind of guide you in your reading of the textbook. So there'll be these reading hints. Each week you'll get a quiz, a 10-question quiz on your reading. Those questions will be multiple choice, fill in the blank, true, false questions. You'll be able to take that quiz more than once and only the highest grade will count. And each week you'll also have to do some writing. You'll respond to a couple perhaps written prompts or short video prompts using information you got in that week's reading to write a couple paragraphs discussing an important issue. You'll do that once or maybe twice a week. And then with each one of these sections, you'll also get an exam. And the exam will, like the quizzes, have multiple choice, short answer, true, false, and in this case, some essay questions. But the quizzes or the exam, you'll only get one opportunity, so you'll have to be ready for that. The exams are timed and available online. For 2 of the exams, the exam on section 3, which will happen in October, and the final exam, you'll have to take that in a proctored setting. So that will not be open book. You'll be able to use some notes for that, but you'll have to be ready for that. If you look in the first section in Moodle, the first module in Moodle, there is a handout on the grades and policies, and that goes over the relative point values for each quiz or forum or exam, and the total number of points for the course. It also reviews some of the rules on the quizzes, forums, and exams. And in addition, in that first Moodle module, there's also a simple rubric to be used to help you or to help me grade your discussion forum, so you can look at that and see how I'll be grading you. And there's a schedule also there of the topics and textbook readings for each week, and we'll do a week by week organization of the course. Although the course is online and you can do it at any time you want, there is a schedule, and each week we'll have uh, um, forums due, and the quizzes are due each week, and so we do follow a schedule fairly tightly. Okay, if you have any questions, you can email me or you can call me. My phone number is 815-599-3462. If you can't get me by email or you want a voice, hear a human voice, live contact, call me. I will get back to you that day if it's during the week. So that's kind of the introduction of the course. I don't want to take up too much time doing that, but I also want to introduce myself. So if we look at the next slide, there's kind of my a very brief version of my professional introduction. I grew up in southeastern Wisconsin in a town called Hales Corners, and I went to Whitnall High School, a public high school. And from there, I went to the University of Wisconsin, and so Bucky Badgers there. I'm come from the Badger State, so you can say, I'm a Badger, or you could even say I'm a cheesehead for that matter. But I went to the University of Wisconsin, and I got, when I started there, I was an engineering major. And I quickly realized that that wasn't who I wanted to be, and that engineering courses weren't for me. And so I kind of rebelled against that, and I became an English major. But after a semester of English, I realized I don't think I want to be an English major either. And so then I went back to science, and I flirted with chemistry and geology majors, but I ultimately settled on the study of animals, zoology. And I got my bachelor's in zoology from the University of Wisconsin at Madison. And I had such a good time that I continued, and I got a master's degree. And that animal you see there at the upper right, that is a river otter, and I studied parasites of river otters and mink. And I worked on the life cycle of those parasites and their effect on the host. And I got my master's in zoology studying that. So really wildlife disease. At the same time, I started teaching as a graduate teaching assistant. And so I worked in teaching there, and I found I really liked that. So I went to Southern Illinois University. So there's Abe Lincoln there in the middle. And I am a graduate of Southern Illinois University with a degree in higher education, college teaching. So there I took more biology courses and teaching courses, and I continued work on wildlife disease. I worked on an intestinal disease of Canada geese. Okay, and after that, I got a full-time job at Waldorf College in Iowa teaching biology. And after being there for a short time, I went to Highland Community College, and I've been teaching biology here ever since. I did take a break about 15 years ago and went back to the University of Wisconsin and got a degree in bacteriology, study of bacterial diseases. And so my professional background is really very much in disease, wildlife disease, but actually that works quite well when talking to students about human disease, because the same principles are operating with both people and animals, and the same types of disease processes occur in both. And so you'll be hearing some of that stuff, some of that background. Okay, so I talked about where I grew up too, Hales Corners, Wisconsin, not too far away from here. I've been living in northern Illinois, though, for over 20 years. Raised my kids here. Up top there's Charlie, my son, and we go camping, and that's at Devil's Lake in Wisconsin. And in the daughter there, or in the bottom picture, my daughters are there with Charlie. There's Anna and Emma, and we're sledding. Outside of school, what do I like to do? Well, I'm kind of the same person I am at school. I'm really a person who's interested in learning. Even though I've been, have finished college in one respect, I'm still a student. So I'm still learning all the time. Things you think you know, you can often learn much better. And I find teaching is a great way to learn because if you try and explain it to someone else, you find out, well, maybe there were gaps in what I understood. So I'm always looking for new information. I'm reading about things that we're learning. I'm exploring. I'm a very big reader. I'm always reading books. I like literature, but I also read nonfiction books a lot about science, and so I'm a big learner. I also I grew up at a time when there was nothing to do in the house. There was there were no iPods, there were no computers, was no cable TV. There were where Netflix wasn't there. You went outside if you wanted to have fun, and so I grew up outside, and I still do a lot of stuff outside. In the summer, I do a lot of hiking. I do a lot of biking. We do camping. Uh, we have boats, canoeing, kayaking. We do a lot of that stuff in the summer. And even in the winter, I spend a lot of time outside, like to go sledding with the kids, cross country skiing, snowshoeing, ice skating. Winter's fine for being outside. There's lots of stuff to do. You just have to dress a little differently. And since I spend a lot of time outside, I also get used to things and learning about trees and birds and insects and things like that. There's lots of cool stuff to see. And so I'm kind of an environmentalist. I belong to the National Audubon Society. I'm active in local conservation groups like the Natural Land Institute or the Jane Addams Parkland Foundation. I've worked part time for the Freeport Park District, working on habitat restoration process projects. Um, lots of stuff to do outside and working on things, and it's very interesting. And of course, all that studying and working outside, you work up a big appetite. And so I'm also a big food enthusiast. I like shopping for food, preparing food, and especially eating good food. So well, that's my personal introduction. You'll learn more about me as we go. I'm looking forward to learning about you. In our forum this week, you're going to tell me and your classmates a little bit about you, where you grow up, things you like to do, um, things you would like to do professionally as well as just personally. So what is your major? What are your career plans? Let me know. And I'm looking forward to the course. I think it'll be a lot of fun. All right. So there'll be more materials for you each week to look at. Send me your questions. I'd be happy to talk to you.